תמיד הוא בא אליי במכונית עם גג פתוח.
We are about to start. אנחנו עומדים להתחיל. בבקשה, לשבת.
תמיד אומרים לי שאני מלכה של דרמה, ויכולה גם להפנט את הדלילמה. כל כך הרבה דגים בים כבר טבעתי, עכשיו אתה תצלול עד אליי. קוראים לי בשכונה מלכת השושנים, כל מה שבא ליד אני הופכת לקוצים. רצק בשמועה בשדרות של תל אביב, שלבבות אני שוברת לתחביב. קוראים לי בשכונה.
We cannot start until everyone is sitting.
תמיד הוא בא אליי, אוסף אותי עם ווד של מלך. אני עושה לו פטוץ' וקוברת לו בדרך. בלי המאמי תקרא לי מהיום מדמואזל, אז רק אל תתבלבל. קוראים לי בשכונה מלכת השושנים, כל מה שבא ליד אני הופכת לקוצים. רצק בשמועה בשדרות של תל אביב, שלבבות אני שוברת כתחביב. קוראים לי בשכונה מלכת השושנים.
גבירותיי ורבותיי, ladies and gentlemen, please sit down. We won't be able to start until you're all seated.
Welcome to the National Israeli-American Conference. A few brief house rules before we begin. We ask that you kindly put your cell phones on silent, but by all means, please use it to share things from the conference in any way you like. You will hear many different opinions on stage. This is, after all, a Jewish conference. The speakers at the conference do not represent the IAC in any way, and their thoughts and opinions are entirely their own. That being said, please let's respect them all. Applause is always appreciated. Thank you and enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise up for the national anthems. Please welcome Amit Kanon for the national anthem of the United States of America.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Amit Kanon. And now for the national song of Israel, the national anthem. Please welcome Michael Einav.
כל עוד בלבב פנימה, נפש יהודי הומייה, ולפתי מזרח קדימה, עין לציון צופיה. עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Michael. Please be seated.
We all feel the goosebumps when we land in Ben Gurion Airport. Or when we hear a Shlomo Artzi song playing in the background. The pride we feel when we see an Israeli athlete wins an Olympic medal. And we all know how high we jump when an Israeli artist gets a 12 points. Or when our Israeli basketball team wins. How proud we are when an Israeli actor or TV series breaks through. Or when an Israeli innovation is changing the world. And how we're always the first ones to join hands when help needed. We certainly all know the feeling when war breaks out in Israel.
Breaking news out of the West Bank.
Or when we get news of another terror attack.
Condition following
We all know how we feel when we sing Nefesh Yehudi Homiya. When we stand as one at the transition from Yom HaZikaron to Yom HaAtzmaut. As we recognize the miracle of the one and only Jewish state in the ancient land of Israel. We all know the feeling of us coming together as a united community. Together, we connect the young generation to Israel. We empower them to be proud in their identity and heritage, and always stand for who they are. We stand together for their future when and where it is needed. We empower new leaders that promote a connection to Israel within the Jewish community and America. We build a community excited about Israeli entrepreneurship and innovation and a culture of giving. We will always stand strong as a united and active community with Israel at heart. That feeling makes us who we are. And that is the IAC. מייקל, עמית and קשת IAC.
אין לנו זכות בכלל להתלונן, הכל פה חמסה וברוך השם כי החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים.
אין לנו זכות בכלל להתלונן, הכל פה חמסה וברוך השם כי
החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים, החיים שלנו תותים. כולנו משפחה ונרקוד בטירוף כי הגיע הזמן לעוף מעכשיו לשמחה לשקיעה והזריחה השתדלנו מודים לשתותית כן מודים השתדלנו Let's see your hands up in the air.
שבת עם קשת, חברים.
תל אביב, יא חביבי תל אביב, תסתכל כמה יופי מסביב. עושים לי היי היי, בלילה וואי וואי, וסחטיין על תל אביב. תל אביב, יא חביבי תל אביב, תסתכל כמה יופי מסביב. עושים לי היי היי, בלילה וואי וואי, וסחטיין על תל אביב. תל אביב.
Let's hear it for ירון קולברג, אילנה קליימן, מייקל עינב, עמית קנון and קשת IAC.
Good evening, IAC! ערב טוב! Hello, everybody. My name is Gal, and I'm from IAC Las Vegas.
And I'm Maya, and I'm from IAC Boston.
I have relocated to the US from Israel 5.5 years ago, following the love of my life.
And I have been living here for over 18 years since my parents moved to the US when I was only a baby.
And although we all here have different stories in life,
tonight we're all here as one, celebrating Israel at heart.
Together, Yachad!
I moved to the United States in 1998.
My parents moved here from Canada.
We relocated to Silicon Valley.
First generation American. My parents came in the 70s.
They relocated me here 7 years ago.
4 years ago.
I don't really remember. I was only 3 years old.
When I was 9 years old.
10 years old.
14 years old.
5 years ago when I finished college.
I came to the US 2 years ago.
Born and raised in Los Angeles.
Worked for Business Adventures.
I used to be a flight attendant for a while, and I fell in love with the US.
Went to a Shabbat dinner and met my Wonder Woman wife.
Came out for a vacation, ended up falling in love with the country.
Coming to the IAC gives me a sense of belonging and community.
It gives you a home.
Being Israeli is a huge part of my identity.
Reconnect with Israeli friends.
Foster Jewish culture and community.
Connect between Israeli and American Jews.
We have to make sure that it keeps happening for our children.
Because I don't speak Ivrit at home.
Home away from home on campus.
So many people that had the same goals as me in one room.
To connect with other people who believe in the same things that I believe.
Encapsulated us with love. Americans who have Israel at heart, IAC is the perfect place for them.
יחד, לב אל לב, נפתח ונראה את האור שבשמיים.
יחד, לב אל לב, נפתח בתקווה לאהבה.
איך שהלב נפתח,
חובק את העולם, ובקריאה גדולה נשיר לאהבה.
והכל אפשר,
לזה לא מאוחר,
השחר כבר עלה, זמן לאהבה. יחד לבלב נפתח ונראה את האור שבשמיים. יחד לבלב נפתח ונראה לאהבה.
Together is Yachad. Yachad is strong. I see all your faces, and I know I belong. We all here connected, we all here as one. So raise up your hands, and yalla balagan! Yachad, כל הדרך יחד, לא אחרת, ביד נושיט לטוב שעוד יבוא. יחד, all together, יחד, open up your heart, אני שלי שיפתח את לבבו. יחד ננצח, יחד יישאר, זה ימים של סערה, נדע להתגבר, והתקווה שבלב, תמיד תלך לנו יחד, יחד ננצח, יחד יישאר. ואם רק נסתכל ולא ניבהל, ונראה לעולם שביחד כולם, אז יחד, כן ללכת יחד, כן ללכת יחד אל האור. יחד, זה הזמן ביחד, להתאח ביחד אל האור. יחד, כן ללכת יחד, כן ללכת יחד אל האור. יחד, זה הזמן ביחד, להתאח ביחד אל האור.
Thank you, Maya Mukadi and Gal Chayun. And now, please welcome IAC co-founder and CEO, Shoham Nicolay.
Shalom and welcome, Austin, Texas. Welcome to the 8th IAC National Summit. Welcome to more than 2,800 Israel lovers joining us this weekend. Not including people watching us online now. So, hi Tali, Eitan, and Ilan, sorry, I forgot it, Ilan. So hi everyone. From coast to coast, from around the world, from Israel, Israeli Jewish Americans, Israeli, from left and right, Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, from all Jewish affiliations, from all walks of life. If Israel is in your heart, welcome home. This summer is the highest point of year-long effort in over 100 communities and campuses across the nation. This summit is yours. It's yours. It's your summit as a community. It is the result of hard work of hundreds of volunteers, council members, community leaders, our board members, and our elite team IAC. It is the result of collaboration with many organizations represented here today, partnerships that are the only way for the IAC to achieve its dream and vision, so thank you all of you here. It is a result of tremendous support we receive from hundreds of supporters across the country. To our supporters, thank you. It is due to the vision and support, and we are so happy to welcome here Dr. Miriam Edelson. Thank you, Dr. Edelson, for your unprecedented support, leadership, and for making this dream a reality. Thank you for everything you do for Israel and the Jewish people. This weekend, we mark Sheldon's second memorial. His vision and spirit are here with us and was present throughout the process of designing the summit. I hope we make him proud. Just a month ago, we have lost a true friend that we all loved and was part of our family since IAC's early days. Isaac Schaeffer was an entrepreneur at heart that together with his wife Miri converted his business success into community leadership and philanthropy. He will always remain part of this family. One of our online guests, a very active IAC Edge member, Rom Ben Eliyahu. Rom could not be here with us because he's going through a series of treatments. Rom, I know that you're watching us. You are not alone in this battle. This entire audience here is standing with you, sending our prayers, our love, and strength. Please help me. On its 75th birthday, Israel is still searching for the golden path, the right synergy between a Jewish state and being a beacon of democracy, the relationship between three branches and a set of other national issues that will determine its future, including issues that might affect us here when we live in America. At times, the temperature of these battles rises. From the first day the IAC was born, this month, 16 years ago, our clear policy was to respect, trust, support, and love with no condition Israel, its people, and its democracy. IAC members are coming from a very wide spectrum of ideologies and always been working together as one beyond any politics. It doesn't mean we all think the same, and it doesn't mean that as individuals we always agree with different Israeli governments. This weekend, we hold sessions to allow this exchange of ideas touching many of the issues in conflict. Disagreement and debating is a central part of Jewish tradition and Israeli culture. However, At the same time, we must keep in mind, we cannot only debate all the time. We cannot always fight over what we believe is right. We should not keep talking about building bridges as if we are two different people with a tunnel between us. We should not put all our focus on gaps while missing out so many opportunities for growth. Just like in any other relationships, we must stop frequently enough and celebrate. Celebrate our shared heritage and history. Celebrate our common past and shared destiny. Celebrate our achievements, triumphs, and contribution to this world. Celebrate our unbelievable story of people returning to their home after 2,000 years. Celebrating the miraculous birth of the one and only Jewish state, one and only 75 years ago. Celebrating how beautiful, cutting-edge, and successful Israel become against all odds. Celebrate the unbreakable bond it has with America. Generations of Israel lovers in Israel and here in America have been dedicating their lives for Israel. There are many who sacrificed their lives so we can debate it now. We owe the celebration also to them. And this is exactly why we are here for, to debate during the day and celebrate at night. This stage is dedicated to a celebration of unity and togetherness above and beyond any differences and any disagreements. And we need you. We need you in our daily work to connect our children to Israel. We need you in our daily work to fight for Israel and the Jewish people whenever needed. We need you as ambassadors with Israel at heart. We need you in our commitment to celebrate Israel and the Jewish people. תודה רבה of being here with us. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Shalom to you all from Yerushalayim. It is a pleasure for me to be addressing you again from Jerusalem to Austin and everywhere in between. We, Israelis in Israel and in the United States, American Jews, and everyone who cherishes the American-Israeli relationship, we all stand together. Here and now, we come together to affirm a self-evident and basic truth, the truth of the unbreakable bond that our countries share. It is a bond that goes beyond particular parties or particular moments, but is shared in a spirit of bipartisanship and a deep sense of belonging to a larger common story. It is a bond that I have had the pleasure of celebrating personally with President Biden over recent months, both as his guest at the White House and as his host here in the President's residence in Jerusalem. And it is a bond which my brother Mike cultivates every day as Israel's ambassador to the United States, because there is no Israeli government that doesn't view this relationship as an invaluable strategic asset. At this important gathering, we come together not only to celebrate this bond, but also to look honestly and deliberately at what this hour demands of us all. Because while our bond may be strong and self-evident, that does not mean that it doesn't require commitment, attention, discussion, deliberation, an open and frank relationship. Like in any relationship, as circumstances inevitably shift, we're asked to show up in new and intentional ways. My friends, it's no secret that since Israel's most recent elections, questions were raised by many of our friends around the world and in the United States. Our friends want to know that Israel will continue to carry the rich ethical heritage on which our country was founded, that it will continue to stand for those values of democracy, liberty, and equality, which are the animating force behind the United States and Israel alliance. So allow me to reassure you, Israeli democracy is strong. Our many voices are not a sign of weakness, but a sign of the greatness of our democracy, and it is a source of strength. Rule of law, freedom of speech, human and civil rights, These have always been and will continue to be pillars of our Jewish and democratic state. And I believe it is worth saying that out loud to all those who are challenging, questioning, debating, or spreading hate and undermining our right to exist by simply trying to claim claims that are distorted and unacceptable. Israel will never compromise on its defining principles. But a hallmark of democracy is the peaceful transition of power. And a hallmark of our Jewish tradition is respectful, honest, and fertile discourse. So, dear friends, let us not lose sight of what is most basic. We can live with tension and differences between us all, but we cannot forget the truth of our connectedness or stop fighting for it. We rely on all of you to be bridges of dialogue and ambassadors of goodwill to protect a relationship that safeguards our future. Here, I would like to thank all of you, and especially our good friend, Sham Nicolette and Nati Sadov, for convening this conference, for helping cultivate the Israeli-American community at large. I salute them, and I salute all of you. היו ברוכים, תודה רבה, ולהתראות בישראל.
Thank you to the President of Israel, Mr. Yitzhak Bougie Herzog. And now, please welcome journalist and TV host Miri Michaeli and Minister of Diaspora Affairs and Social Equality, Mr. Amichai Shikli.
And it's just the beginning of the night. We continue after. We have a very long night here.
אותי שומעים?
It's non-stop.
אחלה. ערב טוב כולם. שלום. טוב להיות פה.
Thank you. Oh, good evening, everyone. Good evening. So good to be here. Thank you for being here, Minister Shikli.
Thank you.
It's your first time, right, at the IAC conference?
Yes, it's the first time in Texas, and it's the first time at the IAC conference. Thank you, the board of the IAC. Thank you, Shoam, for this wonderful event.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it
I
so
already
much.
love it.
Good. You're going to love it so much you want to come back again next year, unless we go for another 6th round of elections, right? No. We're not going to talk about elections tonight. We had enough of that. Thank God. We'll try not to talk about politics. We'll try. We'll talk about unity, like Sham said before. But first, I'm sorry, can I get a close-up on the minister's socks? You gotta see this. I'm sorry, you gotta see this.
Yeah.
These, oh, yeah. Can you see this?
It's begging.
So you know what those socks tell me? That it's time to begin. I'm sorry, I had to.
Time to begin. Nice one.
Okay, so I want to ask you, were you happy to get the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs?
Happy, and also it's a huge responsibility laying on my shoulder now. And I see this conference as a great opportunity to learn, to listen. Before we set up strategy, goals, we need to learn, to gather data, and this is a unique opportunity to meet so many influence leaders from all across the United States, Israelis and not Israelis, and it is really a huge opportunity.
In your opinion, what is the greatest challenge regarding the diaspora?
Okay, so I will try to refer mostly to what's happening in the US. I think that we are facing a double challenge that affects two dimensions. First, in Israel, but also here in the US, keeping Jewish identity strong and alive and vivid, it is a huge challenge. And the data we have, based on research like the JPPI, is that Jewish identity is getting weaker. Now, when Jewish identity is getting weaker, the result is automatically that the Zionist identity is getting weaker as well. Now, at the same time, the Zionist identity is being attacked seriously by the BDS and all other organizations and states sometimes that try to delegitimize our rights as a people to have our own sovereign state in Eretz Israel. So the combination between, on the one hand, weakening of the Jewish identity, and on the other hand, the attack on the right of the Jews to have their own state, that's a critical moment, a tough moment, and this is a very, very serious challenge that will affect dramatically Israel, the relationship between us and the US, and you, the audience here, you have a significant role in changing the course of history. And that's why I came here. I didn't come here for vacation. I came here because we have together a mutual task, a huge task for the future of the Jewish people. Thank you.
Since there are so many Israelis here, we'd like to hear from you. What is the role of the Israeli-American community, in your opinion?
So first is to be a community. And it takes a huge effort to be a community, to be a vivid community. And I think that what we're seeing right here, right now, is a huge effort of individuals who take responsibility for the people of Israel and create these events and enormous amounts of activities, leadership program, institutions, education, and that's I think is the most significant role to begin with, to have these communities. And obviously, identity starts at home. It starts in Ve'igadeta lebincha. We have now the Parashat Shavua with the greatest stories of Exodus. So it starts with Abba ve'ima and the family. But then you need a community. We cannot go and skip the phase of the community. And I think what's happening here and the role of the IAC in building Israeli, vivid, Jewish communities here in the United States, that's a huge thing that is happening. And it can help us a lot. And it can also help Jewish communities to better understand Israel, to better understand the challenges that we are facing. You, the audience here, Israelis who lives in America, can explain to our fellow Jews here in America what it is like to be an Israeli, what are the challenges, and they can also be really the edge of fighting anti-Semitism and fighting BDS in campuses and all across the United States.
Hear, hear. There is a lot of alarm among American Jewry with the establishment of this government.
Yes.
What do you say to the Jewish community?
There is a large alarm in the left, it's obvious, and it affects dramatically also the Jews who live here in America. We had election. The result was crystal clear. We were very honest with our agenda, and it is our responsibility to follow this agenda, and it does not mean that we're not listening. We do listen, and I spent hours yesterday, and to listen to Jewish leaders and what they have to say about the law of return, about judicial changes, and everything. We're listening to the criticism, we're listening to their concerns, we care about it, and I think that maybe one tip is less Haaretz and New York Times and more common sense and tachlis, what the government is doing. That's it. We are proud to be Zionist. We are proud to be, I'm proud to represent this government. This is the choice of Am Israel. This is the choice of the people of Israel, and I think it's okay also to respect it.
A question that I think many Jewish communities here would want to ask, so I have the opportunity to do it for them.
Yeah.
Will the grandchild clause be cancelled, and do you think it should be?
Okay, so now we are going deep into details, and that's okay. First of all, no one is going to cancel the law of return, which is fundamental for the state of Israel. Israel will always remain safe haven for every Jew everywhere on earth. And we are making efforts in the diaspora ministry, not just to care about the Jews when they need to come to Israel, but also to take steps to help Jewish communities to protect themselves. There are courses, equipment, etc., etc. Now, about the grandchildren chapter, which is chapter 4a within the law. The challenge is as such. On 1990, 93% of the Olim that came from former Soviet Union states were Jews. They were connected to Judaism. In 2002, it was 40%. In 2020, only 28% were related to any form of Judaism. And that's a serious challenge for the state of Israel. Not one more data that should be considered. 41% of them leave after a year or two. So we have an issue here. And we're not saying we are about to cancel chapter 4 tomorrow morning. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is there's going to be a committee to determine how can we deal with this serious challenge. And as you see, when you go into the details, that's a challenge. We need Israel to be a strong Jewish state, and we need to tackle this challenge, and we're going to do it slow. We're going to do it by listening to every aspect. And also I had a conversation with both the president and the prime minister before I came here. No one is going to cancel anything tomorrow morning. We're going to listen, and we're going to do it very, very responsibly. And I think we can relax, and we can rely on this government to do the best for the Jewish people.
Unfortunately, our time is up. I have so many other questions. I want to thank you very much, Minister
Toda.
Shikli. And I hear that your father is here.
נכון, you know what, that's very, איך אומרים, moving, מרגש, כן, אבא. You know what?
Where is he?
קודם כל, I don't know where is אבא,
אבא של
but...
שיקלי. הנה אבא של שיקלי.
אבא, שלום. So, you know, one thing about identity. My father, when I was a child, he told me, I don't care if you'll be religious or not religious, but I do care that you will be a serious and devoted Jew. And I hope I'm not disappointing you, my father. And my father, he made Aliyah from France, and for me is my private Avraham. So thank you, Abba.
That's very nice. Thank you, Minister Shikli.
Abba.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Minister Amichai Shikli and Miri Michaeli, and please welcome IAC board member Tal Schuster.
Good evening. Welcome to the IAC. My name is Tal Schuster, and I'm a board member. And today, I want to thank all the council members that are with us here. We have about 100 council members who are here, and that's impressive. Let's give them a round of applause. You all have successful career, families, and many other obligations, but you still find the time to volunteer, lead, and take actions. You represent and lead your communities. You connect to your local officials, and you participate in civil engagement. Thank you for your hard work. You donate your time and resources to support the mission of the IAC. Thank you for the work. Each one of you is a leader.
Why IAC? For me, it's because the IAC does and not just talks.
It seemed like a natural course to become a council member and affect what the organization does.
When I came to meet the IAC the first time as in Celebrate Israel, it felt like home.
IAC represents who I am. I'm an Israeli who lives in America. It's my responsibility as an Israeli, as a Jew, as a mom, as a woman, to be involved.
Being involved is the most important duty any person can feel.
The IAC gave me two incredible gifts, the gift of identity and a gift of purpose.
IAC is changing the world around us, and I'm proud to be involved.
I'm focused on activism and battling anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. I feel that for me, it is a calling to take part in this effort.
Because really I want to set an example for my kids, for the next generation.
It's actually the only organization that connects between the Israeli community and the Jewish American community.
The leadership that I'm connecting to at IAC is trying to bridge the gap between the American Jewish community and the Israeli American community.
We met at the IAC. IAC, it's not all about teen and kids, it's also about relationship and friends.
Connecting Israel at hearts and connecting Israel with one another.
Yes, give them a round of applause because they do work really, really hard. And now, please help us to welcome the owner of the Garden Homes, Minnesota Vikings, and Orlando Soccer. And if you are a fan, make some noise for a businessman, philanthropist, and chairman of the board of the governor of the Jewish Agency. Please welcome Mark Wilf. Mark, welcome to the IAC. We're excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. It's great to be here.
So, it's not secret that your dedication to the Jewish world and Israel is driven by your family. Your family went through the Holocaust and created a very successful life here in the United States. We would love to hear from you about the journey.
Well, again, thank you for having me here today, and it's just wonderful to see the energy. And yes, my family was, as for all of us, has such a big influence in our life. And for me, my parents, as Holocaust survivors, they were born in Poland. My father from Yaroslav, my mother from Lvov, which is now in Ukraine. And they came to the United States. They got married in Germany in 1949 from a very trying experience through the war. We lost many relatives, of course, and out of hundreds of thousands of Jews in Lvov, they were one of a handful to survive. And so they got married in 1949. They were sponsored by the Birmingham, Alabama Jewish community, and they moved to Alabama in 1950. And then they built a life in America, eventually moved to the New York area where we all grew up, and built a life around Judaism, around mishpacha, family, and love of Eretz Israel. And I'm always grateful for that, to have that love of not just the United States, but tremendous Zionist values in Israel. And that's something very special, yes. And fast forward to 1985, I went with my dad back to their hometowns, and I went back and I saw that the people there remembered them, and they just assumed like that they were dead like all the rest. And that very much motivated me to say, you know, the only difference between then and now is that we have a strong state of Israel to protect all of us and to make a strong Jewish nation. And so that energized me to stay committed and to stay energized. And I fast forward to last spring, 2022. I was privileged to be the chairman of the Jewish Federations of North America, and we went to the Polish-Ukraine border in Medyka, just 10 minutes drive from where my father grew up. And when they grew up, they were refugees. No one in the world cared for them or thought for them. And here we were. There were over 2 million refugees coming out of Ukraine, many of them Jewish, from great Jewish communities in the Ukraine. And we were greeting them and seeing them come out. And the very first thing that they saw was a hospital tent with an Israeli flag on the border.
Wow.
So the first thing that these refugees saw was the Israeli flag and the Magen David. So that came full circle. My parents had nothing and no one to think of them, and today we have a state of Israel And thank God, myself and all of us have the privilege to give back and be able to do and take care of others.
Beautiful. Mark, we spoke about the past. Now we'd love to talk to you about the future. You're here at the IAC. In the next few days, you're going to hear a lot about the next generation, because that's what we are focused on. We are focused on the next generation. You'll hear about Keshet, about Eitanim, about Mishelanu, Edge. For every group every age group, we have a different program. Now we want to ask you, how do you think that we continue for the next generation to keep the connection to the Jewish world and to Israel? And especially your kids. I would love to ask you about your kids, how connected they are to Israel.
Well, that's obviously very important to me, and I think that motivates so many of us here at IAC. Kol hakavod. I think we're here because we want to make sure our children and grandchildren, God willing, will be able to have a strong Jewish community around us. So I think many of you, if you want to raise your hand maybe or clap, if you're someone, a young person who came here because of your parents, or you're here in the room, yes. I see a lot of young people here, so kol hakavod to you. And I think, we have to share those values at home, of course. And I know the people here certainly understand Israel in a natural way, and they give it to them. But I think for my kids, my wife and I, we have 4 adult children now, and for all of our kids, they have to experience it for themselves. So I know IAC has wonderful programs. I know I'm privileged with the Jewish Agency for Israel and my wonderful partner, Doron Almog. We're doing wonderful, those kind of programs, whether it's Mossad or all the programs you talk about, or Birthright. For my own children, all of them were able to go to Israel on Birthright, on internships. And I think we all have to encourage, we have to say our values down, but ultimately they have to experience it for themselves, a new generation. They have to go and visit and be on the ground. And that's what these experiences we talk about, they're so important. My wife and I were very fortunate that our children had those opportunities, and I think that's why we're all here, to encourage our children to keep participating, so we have that connection. And this group gets it more than others, because they understand the importance of Israel. And everyone here, you are all the ambassadors.
I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you. Mark, we are here, the Israeli American, as part of as part of the Jewish community. We want to hear your advice. What do you think is our role, and how can we brought into the Jewish community?
Well, the bottom line is we need you. We need each and every one of you. We're all mishpacha, we need each other, but you especially, that understand it in your kishkas, the importance of that connection to Am Yisrael. We need we need you around the board tables in the American Jewish community, at federations, at JCCs, to participate in American Jewish life. We need you to share the challenges, all the great challenges that we have for our children, that we want them to be connected. We need to support our shlichim, our shinshinim, all the people that are in our communities, because we understand. And we need to participate with our time and our resources to make sure the Jewish community is strong. So the bottom line is we need you. We need you to be the ambassadors in this country and wherever you go, to say, stand up for Israel, stand up for Israel's values, to stand up that Israel is a just, beautiful country that is part of an Or L'Goyim. And that's what our job is. So we need you, and thank you for being here.
So you will hear about it a lot in the next few days. Part of the mission of the IAC is the next generation, and of course, connecting into the Jewish community. And again, you'll hear it again and again. We have 1 more minute, but I have a very important question to ask you. We have many sports fans here, right? We do want to know, how come a Jewish businessman, how did you end up buying the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, my rabbi in New Jersey at my son's bar mitzvah said it best. Until you're bar mitzvah, that's the time you realize you have a better chance to be a Jewish sports owner than a Jewish sports athlete. So, but growing up, we were, my parents wanted us to be part of the American scene. We went to Giants games. We were big sports fans. And when we were very crushed when our team lost as fans, my dad always used to say to us, things could be worse, guys. You could be the owners. So we keep that humility when we can in perspective. It's a great privilege to be part of that. And we've had a lot of great support, especially from our friends in the community.
Thank you, Mark. We will continue the discussion tomorrow, so you're very welcome to join us for a longer discussion.
And we have a shofar on our helmet, for those of you who need to understand.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
to talk to you and host you here at the IAC.
I'm Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Tal Schuster and Mark Wilf. Please welcome IAC lead member, Alexandra Cohen.
You can do better than that. Getting there. This is unbelievable. Shalom lekulam, and howdy, Austin, Texas. Woo! My name is Allie Cohen, and tonight I greet you as the Vice Chair of IAC Edge New York and as an enthusiastic member of the Rimon Club. I cannot begin to explain what a zechut it is to be a leader and a voice in this incredible organization. But first, let me take a selfie. Okay. Thank you for indulging in that. 14 years ago, I was a teenager from Long Island, New York, getting ready to board my very first flight to Israel. I was proudly Jewish and connected to the community on campus, but something was profoundly missing. From the first moment on my Hillel's Taglit Birthright Israel trip, I discovered that I was part of something bigger than myself. I knew that I was babayit. I've been back to Israel 10 times, and I can solidly say that I've fallen in love, and more importantly, I've found my people. With Israel in my soul and Israeliness in my blood, I now not only know where I'm coming from, but where I'm going to. Thank you. When the pandemic prevented me from physically visiting Israel, I was completely lost and sitting alone in New York City, hungry for connection. One day, my dear friend Yoni invited me to an IAC Edge startup pitch night, and everything changed. It was the first in-person event I had attended in years, and I was welcomed with open arms and such enthusiasm, warmth, entrepreneurial spirit, inclusion, and yes, even a little bit of chutzpah. I knew instantly that I was whole again. As a leader today of EDGE, IAC's national network of young professionals with Israel at heart, and as a member of the prestigious IAC Rimon Club, I stand here driven, empowered, and eager to get to work and help this thriving organization continue to expand. Along with my EDGE and LEAD family, many of whom are here tonight right in front of me, I volunteer day and night to ensure that each and every 20 and 30-something in New York who has even an ounce of love for Israel has a place at IAC. At EDGE, we are committed to custom tailoring events for our members surrounding professional development, culture, tradition, values, and even love. Whether you are motivated by Golda Meir or enjoy Golda Gelato, thank you, it landed. Whether you drink Gold Star beer or wear a gold star on your neck, the ways to engage with your Israeliness through IAC are endless. To close, I extend a sincere toda rabba to all of the amazing IAC team and leadership for making all of this possible. I'm enthusiastic about the chapter of history we are writing in these very moments. And when I look out at each of your smiling faces, I know that together, what is this? Ani ve'atem neshane et ha'olam. Yalla balagan. And now, please welcome journalist and television news anchor Dani Kushmaro and Adam Neumann.
אני בשמאל? תודה רבה. He's too tall. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud and honored. Mr. Adam Neumann. So I'll start with a very Israeli question. מה קורה? מה המצב? מה שלומך?
קודם כל, תודה רבה שאתה שואל. איזה אנרגיה יש פה? תעשו פה קצת רעש, בבקשה.
Let's celebrate.
Thank you for asking.
You don't give any public appearance. It's very rare. So why here? Why now at the IAC?
Because of Israel, because of the intention, because of the team that's running it, and because I think we're at a time right now in the world where unity has never been more important. And I had the pleasure yesterday night to sit with some of the founders and leaders of this organization, and all they talked about was unity. And, you know, someone very smart told me just a few minutes ago, it's easy to write a check. It's very hard to take an action. So I thought coming here and taking an action would be fitting.
So you still believe in the unity?
I believe in Israel. I believe in everything that's amazing about Israel. You know, people keep asking me a lot about what's happening in Israel now. And the truth is, I don't live there, and I don't want to give opinions about things that I don't see from the inside. So I stay away from actual opinions about it. But what I do know is that you could take the Israeli out of Israel, but you can't take Israel out of the Israeli. And that's what we're all here for. And I think it's very important to remember that and be very proud about it. Because for me, if you ask me a lot of times, Adam, how did things work out and what did and what didn't, I'll tell you it has a lot to do with my upbringing and this country.
Let's talk. You heard about this word, maybe, we work.
We ma?
We work.
We work, yes, we work.
So more than 3 years later, how do you look at it? How did you feel those days?
Guys in the back, we can hear you.
Yes, there's
I have a serious case of ADD, so if there's other
No,
sounds that are happening.
something.
No, it's because in the back they have their microphones on.
The microphone back, guys.
הסתדרנו.
Okay, so you had the time to think about it.
Thank you. I was buying some time. שם אנחנו נעבוד על זה לשנה הבאה. You know, obviously I get asked a lot about WeWork. I'll start with something that I actually haven't shared before. So first of all, just to check, if you've ever been to WeWork and you raise your hand, I just want to make sure I know if you know. If you enjoyed it and you're in WeWork, can you make a little bit of noise? Okay. I think it was a little more fun than that, but I'll take it. You know, WeWork was a 10-year journey. It's now a 12-year-old company, a 10-year journey. And a group of people, and a lot of people don't know this, the original team in WeWork were 8 employees. 5 of them were Israeli. And all of them my best friends, and all of them served with me in the army. And we came to the US, and we came to New York, and we didn't know a lot about a lot, but we did know about Israel, and we did have the Tel Aviv energy, and we just wanted to bring it to New York City, and we wanted to bring community, because growing up in Israel, community is a natural thing. And we went on this amazing journey, and it started with 8 people, and by the end of it, it was over 10,000 people. And put me aside for a second. That team that built WeWork for 10 years, that team that slaved and worked and never slept and built in over 150 cities, in over 70 countries, in over 70 languages, every city on the planet that meant anything had a WeWork, and it was done with people. Yes, there was some technology in WeWork, but what there really was sweat equity. It was a tremendous group of people that didn't give up and believed in something greater than themselves. And the one thing about the last 10 years that I would love if changed a little bit, I wished those people and that team got the credit they deserve for this unbelievable business that they built, which, by the way, redefined office, changed the category, is a better idea today post-corona than it ever was 10 years ago.
Still working.
It's still working. It's a public company, and I don't think there's an office built in the world today where the person building it is not thinking of that. So I think it was an unbelievable journey. Like any journey, it had its ups and it had its downs, and there's things we did that I'm very proud of, and there's things we did that I've learned a lot of lessons from. But I think in life, whenever you are on a journey, it's always going to go up and there'll always be a down. The question is, when that happens, you're going to learn your lessons, you're going to grow from it, or you're going to cry about it.
So what is the lesson?
There are multiple lessons. I don't think we have enough time for today, but I'm happy to share a few if you would like.
Yeah, so let's talk about the next thing.
Wait, let's do one lesson.
What?
Let's do one lesson.
Please.
1.5.
Please.
Okay. Be very, very picky at the people that you choose to surround yourself with. You're only as good as the people that are around you. And never forget that. If they are superstars and you're just okay, you're a superstar. And if you're a superstar and they're not, then you're not either. And therefore, choose the right people, and I think that's the biggest lesson. And the other lesson is, you sometimes think you know everybody around you. You might, but don't measure how people treat you always on the way up. Take a look at how people treat you also on the way down, and you will know their truth. And I think for me, one of the biggest gifts from this journey was to get to see who was a real friend, who was a real partner, who was a real person, and that knowledge is priceless.
He's a mentor. So more than 3 years after we work, you raised $350 million for a new company that got a large check from Andreessen Horowitz, the most important VC in America. First, more information about this company, Flow.
Well, first of all, you've done your homework. It's very nice. Again, it's going to sound very Israeli, but I'm going to share a little bit of facts about the United States. What I'm going to say is definitely true in Israel also, but I don't know the data behind Israel as well. But in the United States today, if you're 35 years old or younger, 70% of 35-year-olds are renters. They all rent apartments. If you're 40-year-olds or younger, about 62% are all renters. In America, rent represents 37% of the average American's salary, annual salary. And it used to represent, when you bought an apartment or bought a home, approximately 60% of your net worth. So we have the largest asset class in the world, but suddenly something changed. Everybody's a renter. If you're 22 today, there's a very high likelihood that for the next 20 years, you're going to be a renter. And when you're a renter, you're not going to build equity. You're not going to create that savings account. Generational wealth that in the past would have been given to your children and your grandchildren. At Flow, we want to do two simple things. We want to elevate the resident experience, and we want to share the value with the value creators. How? We don't have enough time, but in general, that's what we're after.
And you invest in more companies, of course.
So separate from Flow, Flow, we were very lucky to get investment from Andreessen Horowitz, and for those of you who know them, they're unbelievable venture capitalists. And
one of the biggest, of course.
They might be the biggest one in the world, but I think if you want to learn about them, the fact that they chose to invest in us, the fact that they actually got to know us and chose to make an investment based on their research and what they knew was right and what they thought the future is, shows you that they're much bigger thinkers. They're also turning out to be unbelievable partners, and I wish for every entrepreneur to have investors like them. But separate from that, we also have a family office, and we invested in the past 3 years in over 49 companies. And actually, I think 5 of the companies
49.
are 49 different companies. 5 of them are here today.
Great. How was it to see the Apple TV series, We Crashed?
Thank you for asking. This is why I don't interview.
About your life with Jared Leto playing you.
קצת נמוך, לא? No, he's awesome.
Hard to compete. Okay.
He's awesome. The truth is, and I have a lot of close friends that don't believe this, I've never watched the show.
No way.
Never watched the show. I have one of my closest friends. Every few months we hang out, we have a few drinks. He says, Adam, יד על הלב, תגיד לי שראית את הסרט. אומר לו, לא ראיתי.
Why?
I've never watched the show. I'll tell you why in a second, but I can tell you that after the show came out, thank God things were working really well before, and we had a lot of companies were coming, and we had a lot of deal flow. After the show, it was unstoppable. So I think, I'm not sure what the intentions of the creators of the show was, but the result of the show was very positive for us, and I think even that's a lesson in life. Sometimes you think something is going to happen that's going to be bad, and it actually ends up being the best thing that ever happened to you. And sometimes in life, you have this big meeting, and you're saying, this meeting will change my life, and actually it doesn't end up being anything.
But you met Jared.
I did meet Jared Leto, yes, because he reached out to us many, many times, until one of my close friends who's actually here in the audience, Andrew Finkelstein, who's a Hollywood agent, called me and said, I cannot get any more phone calls. You have to meet him. And
what he said?
We actually met Jared.
He asked something? You asked him?
I don't know. Andrew, can we share what Jared said? It was a little... You know, I'll say something else about Andrew because we mentioned his name. He introduced me to Rebecca, my wife, which is the most important thing. And it's a bigger deal than you think. And he also named the company, actually named We Work and We Live, and he came up with the name. Jared wanted to get to know us, and the reason we ended up taking the meeting is we realized that the show was going to happen anyway, and there was nothing we were going to do. I don't know if we could or couldn't. There was nothing we were going to do about it, because in my spiritual practice, it's not about what other people say about you. It's about what your wife thinks, your kid thinks, your relationship with something greater than yourself. But we had a feeling that if we did meet him, and he actually got to meet me and Rebecca and the kids, maybe you'd have a different picture of a little bit more what's true and what's not. And Jared came in, and it was an interesting meeting because he looked at me and he said, "I've been looking at you for 3 months." And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, "No, I'm a method actor. That's what I do, and that's how I learn." He tried his Israeli accent on me. Again, I didn't watch the show, so I don't know how well he did or didn't. I heard it was okay. But once he met the kids, and once he met Rebecca, at the end of 3 hours, he turned to me and said, "Adam, I think it was very important that you took the meeting. I now understand better who you are and what you represent, and I promise you that I'm going to make you look like a rock star, but I also promise you, don't watch the show." I said, "Okay." And that was that.
Yes, you are a rock star. Okay, I look at your biography. So we both were born in Be'er Sheva, Shchuna Dalet.
Shchunat Shikli.
Be'er Sheva rules.
Be'er Sheva, Shchuna Dalet.
Both served as an officers at the Navy. The difference is that you became a billionaire. You were living more than 20 years in America. Do you still consider yourself or feel like an Israeli?
Again, I said it before, and I'm sorry to repeat myself. I don't think you can take Israel out of the Israeli. Me personally, because Israel is very, very important to me. I never took, and I apologize for any Americans, and if there's any senators, never took an American citizenship. Was not interested. I always wanted my Israeli passport and my Israeli citizenship. So I feel extremely Israeli. And I believe that it's Israel that has given me a lot of the gifts and a lot of the things that I've been able to do. I don't believe I would have been able to do if I didn't grow up in Israel and as an Israeli. And I also think, and maybe you guys can relate to this, sometimes when we're in Israel, we don't appreciate how great it is. We then leave Israel and we're far away, and another year passes and another year passes, and you feel like you miss it more and you appreciate it more. Sometimes to appreciate really great things, you have to be removed from them. And it's a shame because we always in our life miss the most important thing usually is right in front of our face and we want something else. So I actually think being away from Israel has made me crave Israel more. I get so excited. I literally, when I get to Israel, go down on the floor and I literally kiss the floor when I land.
We have 1 more minute, so I'll ask a very, again, Israeli question. מה תעשה כשתהיה גדול?
That's the right question. We're for those who don't speak Hebrew, asked, what am I going to do when I grow up? Which is the right question. I used to have a different answer, but I'll say 2 things. One, I'm very blessed with my wife, Rebecca. We have 6 kids, and having 6 kids is a very big commitment. That is the biggest achievement.
Wow.
That is the biggest achievement that we've done.
It's the biggest challenge.
Biggest achievement. It's Rebecca a lot more than me, but that is the biggest achievement. And, you know, I was sitting in a room yesterday with 5 very smart people who are very passionate about Israel and about this event and about this organization. And coming out of that room yesterday, I can't tell you exactly what I'm going to do, but I can tell you that I'm going to make sure that there's going to be more action specifically about the things that I'm extremely passionate about. And Israel, this group of people, IAC, the relationship, unity is what really gets me going, and I hope that when I grow up, I can do something that can help make that stronger.
Mr. Adam Neumann. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam Neumann and Danny Kushmao.
I participated in the IAC Etanim program. along with Sofim every Sunday. These two programs really had a huge impact on me coming here to draft.
I've been a participant of IAC, Tanim, and Sofim. The program really helped me discover life in Israel, keeping my Israeli roots.
Being involved in the IAC community influenced my decision to come and draft.
IAC has provided me with a family, a community, and has given me so many opportunities along the way.
I want to say thank you to the IAC for everything they did to me. They gave me a lot of tools that led me throughout my gap year.
I just want to thank IAC for strengthening my Jewish and Israeli identity. Definitely helped me and encouraged me to go to the army. I was in Sofim, and it 100% influenced my decision to come move here and serve.
I worked with the media room, with the IAC activism team. The IAC really helped me develop my Israeli and Jewish identity. Thank you, IAC. Hi, everybody.
Hi to everyone in the crowd, especially my family.
Hi to my family, who I love and miss very much.
Hello to my parents, Yuval and Mali. I know you're out there.
Ima, Abba, Shani, and Mia, I miss you guys so much.
Hi, family. Miss you guys a lot. Happy 75 years to Israel.
Mazal tov, Israel. Happy birthday to Israel.
Happy 75th Israel.
ומענן תרד עלינו קשר, הלוואי שלעולם הזה יש תקנה.
הלוואי שהמדבר יצמיח עשב דשא, הלוואי ועוד נשב בצל התאנה.
הלוואי שלא נכאב ואיש אחיו יאהב, הלוואי ויתפתחו שוב שערי גן עדן. הלוואי והתמזגו מזרח ומערב, הלוואי, הלוואי ונחדש ימינו כאן כקדם, הלוואי שלא נכאב ואיש אחיו יאהב, הלוואי, הלוואי ויתפתחו שוב שערי גן עדן, הלוואי והתמזגו מזרח ומערב, הלוואי, הלוואי ונחדש ימינו כאן כקדם.
Celebrating 75 years of innovation.
מה שהיה, היה. הוא אינו ניתן לשנות. מה שיהיה תלוי בחדשנות האדירה הפוקדת גם את המדע וגם את החברה. החזון יותר מהזיכרון הם מקבלי פניו של המחר.
נישאות לאור, רבים חוכי, אך גם פרחי, ולפניי שנים רבות מספור. אני שואל ומתפלל, טוב שלא עבדה עוד התקווה. חי, 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 כן אני עוד חי, זה השיר שסבא שר כמו לאבא, והיום אני עוד חי, חי, חי. עם ישראל חי, זה השיר שסבא שר כמו לאבא, והיום אני חי, 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 אני עוד חי, חי, חי.
Celebrating 75 years of impact.
שהמשלחת החילוץ הישראלית הייתה בדגש רפואי.
צוות רפואי הכולל אנשי סדיר ומילואים גויס למשימה.
מקבלים סיוע מחיילים במדי צה"ל.
ישראל הופכת להיות גם מעצמה בכל מה שקשור במזון אלטרנטיבי, תאים שמפותחים במעבדה.
סיוון והארגון שהקימה Innovation Africa ב-104 כפרים כבר שותים בזכותם מים נקיים.
אוויר צלול כיין וריח אורנים, ניסה ברוח ארבעים עם כל פעמונים. ובתרדמת אילן ואבן שבויה בחלומה, העיר אשר בדרך
celebrating 75 years of heritage.
בארץ ישראל קם העם היהודי, בה עוצבה דמותו הרוחנית, הדתית והמדינית, בה חי חיי קוממיות ממלכתית, בה יצר נכסי תרבות לאומיים וכלל אנושיים.
לשלום שרק יגיע, אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יבוא, אני נולדתי לשלום שרק יופיע, אני רוצה להיות בבור.
Girls hit you hallelujah, girls hit you hallelujah, girls hit you hallelujah, 'cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you, 'cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you, 'cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Sunday night we in the spot, you don't believe me, just watch, come on.
אני רוצה להיות בבור.
Don't believe me, just watch, come on.
אני רוצה להיות בבור. אני רוצה להיות בבור.
Let's hear it to the IDF Ensemble and thank you, FIDF.
Join us tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. where we all join hands, hearts, and voices to create an unforgettable IAC moment. Kulu Lam. See you tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Please wear white.
גבירותיי ורבותיי, עוד לא סיימנו, יש לנו עוד ערב, שבו. עוד יש לנו ערב ארוך. Please sit down, we are still going.
Swastikas painted on a school bathroom wall, a post that all Jews must die in a classroom group.
A fellow student saying he will finish what Hitler started. A teacher stating that Israel does not exist.
These are cases, real-life recent examples of what teens are dealing with in schools and social media.
At a time where anti-Semitism has reached unprecedented levels, we are inspired to stand up tall and act.
It is time for our generation to take on our pride in our Jewish identity and our love for Israel and lead a change.
As IAC ACT and Impact ambassadors, we now have an opportunity to do exactly that. Through our activism hubs across the country, we are empowered and get the tools to educate and lead projects.
We are committed to making sure that no one in our community will be alone when facing anti-Semitism and Israel hate alone.
We are excited to share a glimpse into our work and how our community can make a difference when working together. Thank you.
It happened in our water polo team. We had a very strong internal community of Israeli and Jewish students. There was one person who was quite left out. Their response to that was lashing out with very anti-Semitic remarks.
I'm going to finish what Hitler did. I'm going to kill you. He uploaded a picture of a gun room tagging most of the Israeli kids in the high school.
And I remember being quite disappointed with how the school handled the situation. in terms of education? How do we prevent this from happening? How do we spread the word that this is a real problem that we have, and what do we do with it?
When my second son got to high school, there was anti-Semitic graffiti. We felt as if they don't even acknowledge the fact that it's something that needs to be taken care of in a systematic manner. As a Jewish community in the area, we have to take action, and this is where actually the IAC helped very much in bringing this into action.
The members of IAC were so knowledgeable in how to approach these type of situations, expose you to information that you may not be aware of, and more importantly, the students are not aware of.
Last year we had some incidents of anti-Semitism on campus, and we got connected with the Israeli-American Council, and out of that conversation came the idea to have the Israeli-American Council come and do a presentation to our staff so that they can help to support the students that we have on campus in trying to eradicate some of the hate that exists in society, but more specifically here on campus at times.
The year is 2022, and anti-Semitism has reached a breaking record. A nationwide phenomenon of hatred in our public schools is shaking our communities. The IAC has generated a wide set of tools to address this pressing issue. Through our platform, schoolwatch.me, we receive countless complaints and work with the community and administrators to ensure a school environment that is safe and free of hate. Parent task forces and lecture series provide additional support and knowledge. In our Act and Impact Ambassadors program, we inspire the next generation of activists to act and make an impact in their communities.
Change could be done. It's not something that you have to live with when you get an advice from someone who knows what messages work and what do not.
The IAC gives us the community combat anti-Semitism, to stay strong as Jewish people, and to preserve our identity.
I'd really like to thank the IAC. Their resources, their support, their knowledge has been very helpful for us as a school. So thanks to everything that the IAC has been doing with and for us.
We act to make an impact, inspiring and empowering the community to lead the fight for equality. Together, we make a difference every single day.
Please welcome Special Envoy for Combating Anti-Semitism and Delegitimization of Israel, Noah Tishby.
Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hi, IAC. Oh my God, this feels like home. I'm so happy to be here. Okay, so being Jewish comes with a huge responsibility. And being Israeli American in 2023 comes with even more. Over this weekend, you guys are going to hear a lot about how bad anti-Semitism is, and it is. You're going to hear how it reached super high level of numbers, and it really did. But first, we need to get real with what today's anti-Semitism really is. Now, one of the worst things about anti-Semitism is that it changes, it morphs, it mutates, it adapts. We're here among friends, and most of us are Israeli, so I'm going to be like my dad always says, that Israelis were from the Tachlis department. So we're going to talk Tachlis here. We need to get real about the shape that the vast majority of anti-Semitism has shifted into today, and that is the extreme and fanatical demonization of Israel. Now, whereas in the past, the anti-Semites used to say that they just want to get rid of the Jew and everything's going to be fine, right? They don't say that anymore. Today, they do say, we're just going to get rid of the Jewish state, and everything would be fine. We have to teach ourselves, we have to teach our kids, like these amazing kids that we just saw, to recognize the indisputable reality that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. It is. See, in today's world, every horrific allegation that used to be pinned on Jews is now, it's just being pinned on Israel. As author Yossi Klein Halevi, he identified this, that throughout history, the Jew, right, the Jew, was always used in order to describe whatever is the worst thing about society in any given moment. So, in the early days of Christianity, the Jew was the Christ killer. Under Nazism, the Jew was the ultimate race polluter. Under communism, the Jew was the capitalist pig or the communist, depends on who you're asking. So, what is the worst thing to be in today's polite society? What is it? You know the answer. Racist, colonialist, and apartheidist. That's the worst thing to be. And now, what a surprise. Lo and behold, who is to blame for being all these horrible traits, if not the Jewish state? You see, in polite circles today, the Jew has been replaced with Israel, or better, with Zionists. For today's anti-Semites, Israel is the big bad wolf. And Zionism, the Jewish people's right to have a state, Zionism had turned into a slur. And this trend is amplified by celebrities. You know who they are, the ones that have more followers than more Jews than Jews on earth, right? One of them, specifically, Kanye West, we're not going to mention his name, took it up a notch. He accused Jews of genocide and population control of black people, and he accused Zionists with something that has to do, I'm not kidding, with his ex-wife's sex life with Pete Davidson. Really. Now, horrifyingly enough, West's Twitter followers nearly doubled during this anti-Semitic meltdown. You see, anti-Semitism is like an addiction that the world cannot get rid of, cannot kick. We're in the year 2023, and we're actually having a conversation about whether or not Hitler has some positive traits we should all appreciate, and it's actually happening. Anti-Zionism is not a legitimate criticism of Israel. It's not. Can you be critical of various Israeli governments or policies? Of course, absolutely. Each one of us here in this room are some of Israel's biggest critics. Many of you, as Israelis and as Americans, you legitimately, intensely criticize political leaders and policy decisions in Israel, just like you do in America. However, and this is very important, anti-Israel activists are not interested in criticizing Israeli government or policies. To them, the mere existence of a Jewish state is an abomination which needs to be corrected. Rid the world of the Jewish state, and everything is going to be fine. And this has nothing to do with Israeli government, nothing, or policies. You know how I know this? I know this from my experience. You see, I've been a Jewish and pro-Israel activist for the better part of the last 15 years, all right? The majority of it was under a right-wing government, specifically under the prime ministership of Benjamin Netanyahu, right? In the last year and a half, there was a different government. It was more diverse. It was left, right, and center. Arab parties represented. This should have been amazing for pro-Israel activists. Do you think we saw a difference? No, we didn't see a difference at all. Anti-Israel rhetoric went up. Anti-Semitism went up. Because you see, to the anti-Israel crowd, it doesn't matter which government is in power. To them, it's Bibi, Lapid, Bennett, Michaeli, Lieberman, Zelo Mashane. It's all the same. Israel is the only country in the world where her existence is being questioned. Did you know that Israel is the only country in the world that has its own Wikipedia entry? The legitimacy of the state of Israel? Like North Korea doesn't have that. It's absolutely crazy. But here we are. We're all here. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop fighting. And we're not going to back down. Because as Israeli Americans, we are in a unique position to stand up. Yes, yes. Of course. We're not. Oh, we're not. We're in a very unique position to stand up against anti-Semitic attacks targeting Jewish communities in America and targeting Israel. As Israeli American, we understand this unique bond between these two countries and between our people and our cultures, a bond which is based on shared values, a bond which we, all of us here together, we're going to keep fighting for, and we're going to continue strengthening. Yes. I'm so honored to do this work with all of you here. I'm so grateful for the IAC for being the umbrella organization for all of us. And here's the thing, you guys. This is not our first rodeo, right? As Jews, we've been to hot water before. We've seen this movie before, and we know what to do. And as I always say, we survived Pharaoh, we survived Hitler, we'll survive Kanye. I kid you not, we will. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And Am Yisrael, exactly. Good night.
Olympics, 8 members of the Palestinian militant organization Black September stormed the Israeli delegation apartments and murdered 11 members of the Israeli team. The first Israeli they murdered was my father, Moshe Weinberg. I was only 1 month old when this happened. That event deeply affected my family and myself, teaching me much too early the very personal impact of terrorism and hate. My only connection to my father was portraying him in the 2005 Steven Spielberg film, Munich. Exactly 50 years later, I'm here to tell my story, our story.
Please welcome Guri Weinberg.
Good evening. First, I'd like to start by thanking the IAC for inviting me here tonight to honor the memory of the 11 Israeli Olympic athletes and delegates who were murdered at the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich. My father, as you know, was one of them. He was only a few weeks old when Moshe Weinberg, my father, the coach of the international wrestling team for Israel, was murdered. I never got to know my father or have any personal memories, but I grew up immensely proud of the athlete and coach and the man that he was. Following his death, my mother moved us to Los Angeles, where I grew up most of my life, and where I developed that unique DNA that so many of you here would relate to, which is the Israeli American. And as an actor, I had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and an honor to play my father in the movie Munich by Steven Spielberg. It was a rare closure that it gave me that words cannot describe. For many years, as a result of the terrorist attack and that took my father and experiences of anti-Semitism as a Jew, I try to run away from my reality, forget not only my personal pain, but the pain as a Jew. Jews are attacked in schools, politically, streets, and that constant attack will have an effect. More importantly, what we want to forget and fight amongst ourselves about politics, those who want to destroy us are busy remembering their failed attempt throughout history. This is why I'm so proud to stand here today. This is why an organization like the IAC is such an important part of strengthening the Jewish community, and these times especially when experiencing the alarming anti-Semitic voices today, it is especially important we are united and reminded that together we are invincible. So thank you very much for being here tonight, giving me the chance to honor my father with the courageous teammates and his friends. May their memory be a blessed one. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I am honored to invite to the stage the television host and the defense analyst, Yoav Limor, and former deputy director of the Mossad, Ehud Levi.
Good evening, Udi.
Yes, good evening.
I look around, I bet there are more people here in the room than the people you spoke to in the past 40 years or so.
Yes, probably. I must say this outing and this evening is really exciting me, and to tell the truth, it's not something I'm used to, but I'm working on that.
So I'll give you a bit of his CV. Most of it he can't share, and so I can't share, but still, he commanded the most operative unit of division of the Mossad for about 5 years, and then was deputy head of the Mossad in the era when the Mossad, according to foreign sources, stole the nuclear archive from Tehran and did many other things. So that's the gentleman sitting here.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the first time he's in front of such an audience. doing it in English here, especially for IAC here in Austin. You heard Guri speaking beforehand,
Yeah.
and you were moved by what he said.
Yeah, I would say I was thinking about maybe we'll do something, we'll talk a little bit about Germany before we move to Iran. I don't mean move to Iran, but before we go and deal with the problems. Let's talk a little bit about Germany. And it reminds me, whenever I talk about Germany, I think about ISIS and Daesh. And why is that? Because in 2016, more or less, in the middle of the war with ISIS, I remember myself sitting on the rooftop restaurant of the Bundestag, which was, to whom knows, was the Reichstag. My father, Leo Wolf, I'm Udi Lavi, but he was Leo Wolf. He ran away from Germany 2 years before the war, went away to England, and then volunteered to Israel to the independence war. And I was there, sitting on the rooftop, watching Berlin, drinking wine, and talking with one of my counterparts about the fight against ISIS. And then, in one particular, I think it was after several drinks and a lot of chit-chat, he said, listen, I hope this time we'll do a better work than what we were doing in the 70s in München. And for me, it was kind of a symbolic issue, but it was something that I couldn't really work after that. It took me some minutes, and then we went back to work, and I think it's about time to talk about the real problem. But before I would like to say, I'm going to talk about Iran and all these bad things. I want to say I was born in Israel. I heard Adam. I was born in Israel, lived in Israel, live in Israel, and החיים שלנו תותים. So be relaxed.
You said you were drinking a few drinks with the German and still working.
Yeah.
No, that's a bit James Bondish. Is
Yeah,
it allowed?
we were, it's a new era, what we are talking today, that nobody can fight a global war without sharing and cooperating and working and really taking responsibility together with other allies, with other services, with other friends. And we have a lot.
So I'll say something, and if you could elaborate on it a bit, and that is, in that certain period of fighting ISIS, the Israeli Mossad, your people, saved thousands of lives around the world, especially in the West, because Israel gathered a lot of intelligence in Syria and Iraq, and you went all around Europe and to the United States and other places, and practically brought them intelligence in order to save their people's lives.
Yeah, we saved lives. And I must say that whenever we talked about it and whenever we were discussing it during our work, we mentioned one, I say, extreme example, helping the Turks. You know how many Turkish civilians we have saved during that time? I think it was on the top of the list. And we were there, not the best friends of Mr. Erdogan. Today he is changing his attitude.
So while
At that time, we helped them, we helped everyone.
While he was speaking very badly of Israel, you went
We were
secretly...
saving lives in Turkey, in Germany, in Belgium, in Holland, everywhere. By the way, Israel was not directly touched by the ISIS till today. We were not the first target of ISIS. Nevertheless, we were dealing with these issues as if it's human beings, Israelis, civilians, Jewish communities, and so on.
Unbelievable. Let's speak about Iran. And I'll take you to a certain moment when you sit in the commanding room at the Mossad headquarters, and you have people on the ground in Tehran stealing secretly their secret nuclear archive that they have been hiding from the world for nearly 20 years.
Yeah, you are mentioning that. I remember that night. It was around 5 years ago. During January, one night, we were sitting all night at the CENTCOM of Mossad, near Tel Aviv, and we were waiting to see the results. After all, we were working for more than 1 year, expecting everything. Our guys were there, playing around in this warehouse near Tehran, and we were very much worried about one thing, that we are busting into the house of the neighbor by mistake. Just imagine that you do all the work, you open all the safes, and then you bring nothing. But then around 4 o'clock in the morning, I remember hearing the printer working. I mean, you hear it, and you're waiting to see something. And there it was, a drawing of a nuclear missile, Iranian one. Not Korean, not Pakistani, not anything else, not Russian. It was an Iranian original drawing of a nuclear warhead, which was for us, I mean, yay. You work all these 2 years, you are targeting this place, you are planning, sending the guys, taking the risks, and finally you see the results. And it was a mixture of feelings. But on one hand, we say, yeah, we have done it. On the other hand, we understood that what we are afraid of is there. All the lies of the Iranians about the PMD, about the possible military dimension, they were there. All what they were saying all along the years, till today. We never have done it for a military cause. It was there in the drawing, and for us it was the best achievement till then.
For me, the biggest scoop in your last answer was that you in Mossad still use a fax machine.
It wasn't really a fax, but if you like it, if it sounds better, so let's say it was a fax.
Share with me a bit, with us obviously, the feeling of sitting in Tel Aviv. You have people on the ground in Tehran. How scary is it? Because, you know, they might get caught. Something might happen. And, you know, you plan it as good as you can. But bad things can happen. It's more complicated than movies.
We were talking yesterday, I remember, we were talking about the movie Argo. Okay, to those who knows the movie. And I remember myself sending people to Iran, not necessarily in this specific event. And I remember briefing a very young woman, briefing before she goes to Tehran. And I was doing a mistake. I mean, I was sure she is ready. And she gave me the understanding that she is fully ready. Although there were problems, then later on when she went there, they had took her to the room behind and everything. And that day, I understand what my wife was telling me several months before the event, when she said, "You're working in Argo, what do you need that for? It's not healthy." So, but it's part of our work, and we will do it in the future, probably. Not me, but my successors.
It took you a few months to start listening to your wife. I would be very cautious.
You can imagine.
So let's speak about Iran with the 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes that we have left. Speak about the Iranian situation currently. Where do they stand? Where are they heading?
Yeah, and this is the hardest part of this celebration. The Iranians today are in the worst place, or the most dangerous place ever, concerning the Iranian nuclear bomb. I mean, if I may say it in a simple way, there are only a few weeks and one decision before having enough material for the first atomic bomb. But I want to emphasize, when you have this material, there's still time and opportunities to do something. A material, enriched uranium for a bomb, it's not a bomb. There is a way to go, and hopefully we'll know when and where to use it for.
So, a couple of quick questions. A, can Israel do it alone? B, does Israel need partnerships to do that? Because we live in a complicated world.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm sure most of the Israelis and others are asking themselves whether we can fix that alone. In my opinion, as someone said not long ago, we want to fix it and for all, to finish the Iranian nuclear threat on Israel. In order to fix it and finish it once and for all, Israel needs the cooperation of the United States. I mean, do it alone, it's a different ballgame. To have the Americans with us, and not just logistics, diplomatics, intelligence. We are not, in order to finish it once and for all, Javelin and Patriot and artillery shells won't be enough. This time, it will require a full cooperation with the United States, whether it's possible or not. But this is the way to finish it. And I think it will be in the interest of the world, not just Israel, to finish it once and for all.
One last question. After 40 years, please go ahead. After 40 years of doing James Bond, playing James Bond, being James Bond, what's there in civilian life that can match that?
You know, first of all, it's fun. I can do other things.
You can travel the world in your own name.
Yeah. First of all, I can talk to you, or talk to you guys, although it is exciting, it is new. But I'm not totally out of business because I'm producing the Iron Dome parts, so...
Still saving Israel. Udi Lavi, thank you so much for everything and for being with us today.
Thank you, Yoav Limor and Ehud Lavi. And now, get ready to celebrate with the IDF.
סופרים שנים.
מה הפלא כשרוצים אז משתנים? מה הפלא כששרים יהיו זמנים?
הנה זה בא, הנה זה בא, הנה סיבה, סיבה כל כך טובה למחשבה. הנה זה בא,
איפה אתם? קומו לרגליים.
הנה זה בא, הנה סיבה, סיבה כל כך טובה לאהבה. איך בן רגע יש מענה לשאלות, דבר. הנה סיבה, סיבה כל כך טובה למחשבה. הנה זה בא, הנה זה בא, הנה סיבה, סיבה כל כך טובה לאהבה. אהבה כזו כבר לא מוצאים, שמורים בלב שלי שנים תמונות בין שקט בין מילים. לב שבור הופך שירים, שתיקה הופכת למנגינה.
אהבה כזו כבר לא רואים, הולכים לאט ואוחזים ידיים בין צידי השביל, כולם עוברים, אוספים שברים, פיסות חיים, דמעות הופכות לשיר ומנגינה.
כמו ירח מתמלא ומתרוקן, אתה קרב מתרחק, אבל הלב שלי יוצא לך, ושוב פורח, שוב חוזר. אין יום אחד שיבוא ושאחשוב עליך. כמו ירח מתמלא ומתרוקן, אתה קרב ומתרחק, אבל הלב שלי יוצא לך, ושוב פורח, שוב חוזר. אין יום אחד שיבוא מי שאחשוב עליך. זה לא אומר שאני לא אף פעם, זה רק עכשיו אז תחכה, ואז תבוא כשיעבור הזעם, ואז אחזור כשיתבהר. זה לא אומר שאני לא חושבת עליך בכל יום, כל שעה. עדיין אין שלווה ואין את השקט, כי בכל מקום עולם מולי דמותך.
תשאירו איתנו.
גם אם קשה לי להגיד מילים יפות מאלה, גם אם לא מצאתי דרך להגיד שלך, תדע עכשיו שרק אותך אני אוהבת, וגם בלב אני תמיד איתך. תדע אני תמיד תמיד איתך. בואי תני יד ונלך, אל תשאלי אותי, אל תשאלי אותי על אושר, אולי גם הוא יבוא. הייתה איתי והייתי איתה.
עכשיו הגיע הרגע, הרי חיכית לי ואני תמיד חיכיתי לך, והנה היום הזה הגיע. עכשיו מבטיח שאף פעם לא תהי לבד,
ואם פתאום תעלמי אחכה כל הלילה ואלחש בתפילה שאליי תחזרי. ואם תבואי אליי נשאר כל הלילה ואלחש לך מילים שתדעי שאני שלך, ובבוקר תראי נשאר ביחד, הולכים את הדרך הזו ותמיד יד ביד. ואם תבואי אליי נשאר כל הלילה ואלחש לך מילים שתדעי שאני שלך, ובבוקר תראי נשאר ביחד, הולכים את הדרך הזו ותמיד יד ביד. רוב השעות שנשארו היו מלאות אהבה, ברוב הימים שברחו לנו הייתה איתי והייתי איתה.
ברוב השירים שעטפו את החדר הייתי כולי שערה, ומה שנותר לבסוף מהשבר ברוב המקרים נותרה שתיקה.
יש ימים שנשארו והם רבים והם שלה, ויש שעות שמלאות כולן בריח שלה. לרוב הזמן הייתה נשארת, וכשלא הייתה בוכה עכשיו הגיע הרגע. זה לא אומר שאני לא אף פעם. בואי, תני לי יד ונלך. הייתה איתי והייתי איתה.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to be here. Thank you, IAC. We are IDF Ensemble.
כאן ביתי פה אני נולדתי, במישור אשר על שפת הים. כאן החברים איתם גדלתי, ואין לי שום מקום אחר בעולם. אין לי שום מקום אחר בעולם. Tell me the storm is gone forever. Tell me there's no thunder in tonight. Tell me I can leave my door wide open. Come my friend, I welcome you inside.
Come my friend, I welcome you inside.
כאן נולדתי, כאן נולדו לי ילדיי. כאן בניתי את ביתי בשתי ידיי. כאן גם אתה איתי וכאן כל אלף ידידיי. ואחרי שנים 2000 סוף לי דודיי.
כאן את כל שיריי אני ניגנתי, והלכתי במסע לילי.
כאן בנעוריי אני הגנתי על חלקת האלוהים שלי.
על חלקת האלוהים שלי.
Come along my friend, come along and hold my hand. Love is all we need today to understand. Come, there's a chance today to make a move to change our ways. Let our hearts unite together, let's sing and pray. Come, come and say you'll stay by me tomorrow. Tell me that you need me by your side. Tell me there will be no pain and sorrow, and everything is gonna be alright. Yeah, everything is gonna be alright. כאן נולדתי, כאן נולדו לי ילדיי. כאן בניתי את ביתי בשתי ידיי. כאן גם אתה איתי וכאן כל אלף ידידיי. ואחרי שנים 2000 סוף לי דודיי. כאן גם אתה איתי וכאן כל אלף ידידיי. ואחרי שנים 2000, אחרי שנים 2000. Come along my friend, come along and hold my hand. Love is all we need today to understand. Come, there's a chance today to make a move to change our ways. Let our hearts unite together, let's sing and pray. Come, there's a chance today to make a move to change our ways. Let our hearts unite together. Let's sing and pray.
רכבי מרצדס משנה את המקום שלה, מוציאה סיגריה מהתיק עם המשפט המחודש, שעוד מהדהד בראש, איך לא ידעתי מה ללבוש.
למסיבה שהבחור עם השיער צבעוני היה בליין אבל עכשיו הוא רציני, איש עסקים שעכשיו הוא טבעוני, ואולי הוא בשבילי לנשמה. גם מתוקים הם סוג של נחמה, רציתי לונדון וקיבלתי מלחמה. תראה חבר, הפחד לא עובר, הוא רק הולך ובא, הולך ובא.
Let's see your hands, come on!
למה לי, רק תגיד לי, למה לי, רק תגיד לי, מה עשית לי, שוב חוזר אותו סרט, איך אני, לא ניתנת, איך אני, מתגברת, זה לא בגללי, לא מגיע לי, אני הפעם לא חוזרת. למה לי, רק תגיד לי, למה לי, רק תגיד לי, מה עשית לי, שוב חוזר אותו סרט, איך אני, לא ניתנת, איך אני, מתגברת, זה לא בגללי, לא מגיע לי, אני הפעם לא חוזרת. יאללה לך הביתה מותי, חושבים שאני קצת משוגע, אבל לא באמת אכפת לי, כי רק אני יודעת, לא חשוב אתמול, לא חשוב מחר, כל אותו דבר, לא חשוב אתמול, לא חשוב מחר. יש חגיגה, ההורים מהעיר מסיבה, אומרים העיר התחתנה, חגגנו עד אור הבוקר. יש לך סיבה, ההוא הולך וסבא, גם לך תהיה חתונה, אומרים שבער זה אושר. הוא המיועד, רק האחד יבין אותך, הוא שלך לעד, הוא ייקח אותך ותיסעו מכאן אל העיר הגדולה, אל החופה, אל הגאולה. Everybody dance!
אנחנו רוצים לראות את הידיים שלכם גבוה גבוה למעלה.
תלך כפרה עליי ותנשק כפות רגליי, אתה נראה לי עבדיי, אז תסתלק מחיי.
Thank you very much.
וואו 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 וואו.
בלילות אני לא ישן כבר שבועות, רק מתהפך מצד לצד ומפחד שיום אחד
אני אקום ואת כבר לא תהיי, אני אצעק בכל העיר, אשאל לי מישהו ראה, לאן הלכה האהבה.
אם תרצי אני אתן לך מנגינה שתנגן לך את הכל, אני אתן לך את הכל.
אני נשבע לך עם ידה על הלב, הפעם זה את באמת, מן הקצה אל הקצה, אני חדש, אני רוצה ממש.
אם תרצי אני אתן לך מנגינה שתנגן לך את הכל, אני אתן לך את הכל, וגם אשיר לך. אם תרצי אני אתן לך מנגינה שתרפא בך כל מחול, אני אלחין וגם ארקוד, וגם אשיר לך. איזה כיף לנו פה איתכם, כולם ידיים גבוה באוויר. לה 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 לה
לעולם אני לא עוזב אותך אף פעם, גם אם נדמה לך שאין אותי, לנצח את אהובתי, לנצח את אהובתי.
What an honor to be here. Thank you very much.
השמש ידום בין עזה לרפיח, ירח ילבין על פסגת החרמון, פרחים בקנה ובנות בצריח, ישובו לעיר חיילים בהמון.
לא פחות ולא יותר, קצת נחמד, קצת נבזה, זה הכל, זהו זה.
From every second, every day, from all the sounds that comes my way, and from the star that shines above.
La 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 la.
And from the sing that sing a song, and from the friends who walk along to wish you nothing will go wrong.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Come with us, come with us, come with us to the sea, to the thrilling and wide open waters.
אל השמש הזאת, לרוחות העזות, כי הים לכולנו פתוח. בוא אלינו, אלינו, אלינו לים, אל הים במרהיב הפרוע.
When it will open up above my head, I won't be scared, won't be afraid. אני לבד
והמצנע,
שיפתח, שיפתח, שיפתח עליי, עליי.
המחנה נדלק ירח, המעל כוכב זורח, והזמן כמו גומי מתמרח, ליל שבת בלי טעם ובלי ריח, והשקט את הלב קורע. Okay, make some noise, IAC. Put your hands up in the air. חגיגה בישראל.
והבנות, מה עם הבנות? חפש בישראל הן הכי יפות. והבנים, מה עם הבנים? כולם צבע שוקו על איזה שזופים. כמה מסיבות, עפים ברחבות, מתו על השמש אבל חם לי ברמות.
יאללה, קומו, תעשו שכולם יזוזו. יאללה, קומו, תעשו שכולם יזוזו.
חגיגה בישראל, תגיד תודה לאל שיש לנו בית. השמיים נקיים ושמש לפנים, תרימו לחיים. אז באנו לעשות לכם טירוף, כולם תרימו את הידיים לשמיים. תמיד אתה יכול לברוח מהכל, עפנו לשמיים. חגיגה, חגיגה, חגיגה בישראל, בישראל. חגיגה, חגיגה, חגיגה.
כולם עמדו אצלה בתור, היא לא יודעת שיש בה משהו מיוחד, היא משגעת, היא תסובב אותך, סובב אותך, סובב, היא תעקוץ כל גבר שאליה יתקרב.
היא תסובב אותך, סובב אותך, סובב, היא תעקוץ כל גבר שאליה יתקרב.
שיכיר אותה,
מזל,
איתך צריך טיפה,
מזל,
שיגיד לה זה גורל אחינו.
יש לה יופי מיוחד, לא תרחם עליי, כי מה שרק אני צריך זה רק מזל, מזל, מזל. יעשו.
חברים, עופר דדיה!
איך שהבוזוקי נותן דם צ'יקי דם, צ'יקי דם, סוחב את הדרבוקות על הגב, שימידן, רוקדת יווני, אבל אחי, מכאן, שילוב מסוכן.
מסוכן זה עדיף, כזאת שאם אתה שם על הלשון זה חריף, שבא לך לאכול כל היום כמו חטיף, עלה לו קצת הער לי, עלה הסעיף, אין לי תחליף. איזה לילה מחכה לי, כמה טוב זה עושה לי, כל הבום בום טקה בום בום, כל הבום בום טקה בום בום. הוא זועק השמיים, תעבר נא על שפת המים, עם הבום בום טקה בום בום, תראי בום בום טקה בום בום, יעשו.
Everybody like this, like this.
לא יאמן היא אמרה לו כן, אח שלנו מתחתן, לילה לבן, קלה וחתן ויאללה בלגן. לא יאמן היא אמרה לו כן, אח שלנו מתחתן, לילה לבן, קלה וחתן ויאללה בלגן. אח שלנו מתחתן, דללה דללה, הקלה מלכת אחר, דללה דללה, אח שלנו מתחתן, דללה דללה, הנה היא מלכת אחר, דללה דללה. שיר אחרון, שירו איתנו!
חלון פתוח, תבוא ברוח, תלטף אותה, עוש הכל. צריכים לזוז בזה, אני בטוח, לרוז לנוע, תוך כדי נבין לאט.
חיכינו לו, אז הנה ביום, בוא נברח וניקח רק אותי ואותכם ומיקרו. 1, 2, 3, go! רגע ברגע הולך, אל תשאלי אנה ולמה ואיך, החוף נפתח אם תפתחי את ליבך, תראי איך ברגע הכל יחייך. 1, 2, 3, go! חלון פתוח, אוויר מלוח, קו המים מתקרב לחוף, הזמן עוזר עכשיו לשבות, ננוח לפחות שבוע, לא נחשוב על שום דבר. אם לא, אז רק תגידי יו, יד ביד נשלב ונהיה פועם וציפור. רגע ברגע הולך, אל תשאלי אנה ולמה ואיך, החוף נפתח אם תפתחי את ליבך, תראי איך ברגע הכל יחייך.
IAC, we're so happy to be here. Thank you so much. Sing with us. One last time. It goes like this. 1, 2, 3, go!
תבוא ברוח, תלטף אותה ראש הכל,
צריכים לזוז בזה אני בטוח, לרוז לנוע, תוך כדי נבין לאן, הנה בא היום. Thank you very much.
איפה הכבוד שלכם? Thank you very much. IDF ensemble, thank you. FIDF, and thank you everyone. We will see you tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. And now we have after party on the 5th floor. גבירותיי ורבותיי, תודה על הלהקה הצבאית. בואו ניפגש במסיבה שלנו בקומה החמישית.
Join us tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. where we all join hands, hearts, and voices to create an unforgettable IAC moment. Kulu Lam. See you tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Please wear white.